All right.
All right. Part 2, question and answer. Michelle and Shifra are back. How did the pizza work for you?
Good. Good.
Great. Great.
Made a little mix up on my end, but that's okay. It's all straightened out.
So we answered about the doctors and the dentist. What's the next thing? What's the next question you have?
The next question was, what did you do for fun? And well,
we made up our fun.
Yes.
And we didn't do it at the compound in Shawano. We did it at our own homes.
Yes. So we didn't have dolls or anything like that. We had no toys whatsoever. But I remember very specifically, outside of our house was a very muddy area. So when it would rain, all of us would play out and make a house, and we would make little chairs, and we would have a little kitchen, and we played dolls. We would have material from our clothes, and we would put together like a doll, and usually it was like stuffing in a head with a rubber band.
Oh,
you know
well, we would take one of the little kids' sweaters, those cable knit sweaters that we'd have,
yeah,
and then we'd button it up and stuff the arms.
Okay.
And so then the arms would stick out, so then it was like holding arms, and that would be our baby. And we would pretend family.
A lot.
Yeah, that, because it's all we knew, so we would pretend family, and so would be the daddy, and so would be the mom, and then it would be a bunch of children and babies, and all we do is get in the cars and go somewhere. We'd go into services, and we would go to the store, and we go to the bank, and that's the only thing we knew to do. We didn't know that there was like a zoo. We didn't know that there was a Valley Fair to go to. We didn't know there were malls. We didn't know. All we did was play that and play what we did. Go to so-and-so's house, go to so-and-so's house, and okay, we need to pray.
Yeah.
That's what we did when we played.
Yeah.
Or
I
think we played tag. I think we knew tag. I think I remember playing tag.
So for like my siblings and we got to go to the library. That was the one place that
we did do that too.
So we would get books or sneak books about sports and different things, and that's how we learned.
How did you sneak that?
We would sit in the back of the library and look at the book while we were standing there, and we would we learned how to make Indian bread, like deep frying bread from the library. We learned how to make bow and arrows. We learned how to make slingshots. We learned how to, you name it. And
was your mom with you?
Yeah, when we went to the library, yeah.
Wow.
But as long as we were quiet and very good, we were a little bit older at the time, so she had, all the babies, and that was the only time that they would sit in that little area and play or whatever. And so she was always over there, and we would go find books that...
The benefit to having tons of children.
Yes. So we would sneak out, and like the Boxcar Children books. I don't know if you remember that, but I got to read those when I was little at the library.
I don't remember if I did or not.
There were quite a few series and books that we got to read, but the biggest thing was sports. We learned how to play baseball because we had enough kids that we could do that. We learned how to play tag, and then we learned that there was such a thing as called two-man tag.
Wow.
So yeah, and then I know we taught the game to the other kids because we were homeschooled, and so we would go.
I'm jealous of you guys. You got away with more stuff.
I think our family did. Us kids did get away with a lot more stuff.
We played with landscape rock
Oh,
in the
shit.
form of balls, and we would throw
Yeah.
them to each other
Yeah, no, we had
and catch
marbles.
them,
Yeah, no, we
and
had.
we would walk around the neighborhood aimlessly. And if we and like we lived on a hill, right? And so things, balls, whatever, would always like get out of hand and nobody would chase it. So then it ends way down at the bottom of the hill in the ravine.
Uh-huh.
And we would get the what nobody would go get,
Okay.
golf balls. And somehow we learned that inside of golf balls are bouncy balls. You just have to, and not all of them, but some of them. So we would take my dad's hacksaw and we would cut through it, and then if there was rubber bands in there, you undo all the rubber bands, and then there's a bouncy ball at the core. But not all of them. Some of them, it was like a foam all the way through. And then those are junk. We got good at throwing a freaking tennis ball back and forth and catching it with our hands. No mitts, nothing.
Yeah.
My brothers and us girls, we would toss that thing like 2 houses apart and we would catch it. And we got so good at catching it. You ask my brother this. He's so animated when he tells you. We would catch that ball because whoever had the hill behind him, if you missed that ball, you were running down the hill to go get it.
It did it.
So you had to make sure you caught it. And then from there, we like learned football somehow. We learned how to throw a football, and all of these things that we would find, we knew we had to hide.
Yeah. Yes.
We had to hide everything. So we had a woods, and so we had these trees that fell, right? And there was this huge tree that had fallen, and it landed in the crook of another tree like this.
Yeah.
And so we could climb it from the bottom where it had fallen and climb way up high. We called it Log Everest. Because, all we could do was learn.
So cute.
And then we built our little like place and we hid all of our stuff up there. And we also got into trouble. We almost set our woods on fire.
Yeah. We did a lot of stupid shit.
I know. We just made up stuff.
Yeah.
We got babysat by somebody else's kid and our family, and I think we must have been playing cops and robbers or something, but ended up getting handcuffed to a tree. I don't know where we got handcuffs. So I think we just made up our fun. We had relay races.
Oh yes, that was huge.
And I think we learned that in school.
Okay.
So I think some of us that were allowed to go to school learned
some of the games.
Learned those gym things in school. And so we made fun out of those things.
Yes.
And I remember
steal a jump rope.
Yep.
I remember stealing jump ropes, and we used to play with the jump rope out in the backyard, hoping Sarah would never see. And I don't know where we learned the songs from, but we knew jump rope songs.
Yep. I learned the jump rope songs, Chinese, there's like Chinese, Japanese.
Well, that was something. The clapping song. We did.
Was that one?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm way too old. I can't remember the difference anymore. But anyway, I think we learned a lot from school, and then I don't know. We just made do with what we knew, and
we had.
And then we got older and got more daring, and I had a farm permit, and then I used that to start driving around my mom's car. And that's the stuff. We weren't guided. We weren't told what we could do. Everything was don't do. And so we just did whatever we wanted and tried to get away with it. That's what we did for fun.
Yeah. Yes, pretty much. I mean, we knew a girl across the street from where we lived, and so she would supply us. Her poor parents bought so many, so many toys, basketballs that were just kind of destroyed, along with clothes, because we would wear them because we wanted to be cool and play with them. And she would come over and we would sneak her over. We'd play tag and stuff. She got in trouble one time from her mom because her mom found out that she was playing tag with us and it was up on the roof of our house.
You were playing tag on the roof?
Yes, all of us.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? We
Yep.
played on our roofs.
Yeah, on the roof of
Like,
our house.
There was a ladder in our garage, and us kids just looked at the ladder and thought, let's try this thing out. Let's see what it does. So we take it down, big extension ladder. We figured out how to extend it and get on the roof.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
I wonder what our neighbors thought.
I don't know, but I remember thinking it was a horrible thing to get up on the roof and do that because her mom got so upset that she came running out of the house and yelling her name, "You get back here to this house right now." And poor Nikki was so scared, and she jumps back in the window because we had a window that went from one bedroom onto a lean-to, and then you could go from the lean-to up onto the roof.
Yeah.
And so we would jump out the window, and then we would run around the roof to the back where the deck was, and then we would jump off the roof there onto the back of the house. So it was like a get around. And I remember her like so scared. Oh, I'm so in trouble, and her running back over to her mom. That was just so funny.
Yeah.
I learned how to ride a bike from over at her house because they had a big, huge yard that we could ride her bikes.
We learned, several of us learned to ride bikes when we lived in Germany.
Okay.
Because the house we lived in it was like an Airbnb, but way back in the early 90s. So that's similar. So the people that owned it weren't there, and that's where we lived. They had bikes.
Okay.
And we didn't have to report to Rama. We didn't have to, check in for all the weekly services or whatever. So we learned how to ride bike.
Yeah, that's cool.
When we were in Germany.
Let's see, what was the other like horrible thing that we were fortunate enough to live next to a county park. And so us kids would walk to the county park and play at the playground and go swimming. And then
my gosh,
we were far enough away that by the time we got back to the house, we would be dry. So we didn't have to worry about
if we went swimming, the girls had to go swimming fully garbed.
Yes. Yeah.
That's so heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so funny.
And lots of us never learned to swim. So it was just a matter of getting in the water and then not drowning.
Yes. Yes. Which there were a couple of times I almost drowned a few people by being afraid of water and not knowing, me and water do not mix unless I'm on a boat or on beach.
What else did we do? Was there there were things that we did that we probably shouldn't talk about publicly.
Yes.
Too. Just because we weren't supervised and didn't know any better. And when children aren't supervised, they just they run amok and they do whatever they do.
My question to you is, do you remember, so for fun, whenever us kids would follow around Rama and the big group or whatever, what were the things that he would like have competitions
Oh my gosh, yes.
of like certain people and different kids and
Like
stuff.
jumping off of the deck.
Yes. Yes. And that
Like
was,
that's like 2 stories.
yes. Yes.
2 stories high. And kids would like, I mean, they would brave it because everybody wants Rama's
Approval.
approval, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so kid after kid after kid after kid would
I,
jump off 2 stories
yeah.
into the sand.
Yeah.
And some got hurt
Yeah.
because, you're not landing right, you're tweaking your back, I don't know, all of the things that happen when you jump.
Yeah.
All ages were jumping, and the older you are, the harder you land.
Yep. Yep.
And so he would, if you got hurt, he just like tossed you aside and like, you're no more fun anymore. Okay, next one, who's gonna do it next?
Yeah.
There was competitions like that all the time.
Yeah.
Or like, remember the apple trees? There were tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of apple trees. And so then
Yeah.
there was contests to see who could eat the most
Most
apples.
apples.
The
Yeah,
whole
that was a
entire
big-
apple with the core.
Yes, that was a big one amongst the boys.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And like, it wasn't like we got a prize, like the person that ate the most apples got $50.
Oh no,
All it was
Rama giving you
Rama,
a attaboy.
yeah, Rama gave you the biggest attaboy, yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
That was it. Yeah.
Oh my God. What are some of the other things we did?
I remember at one point in time, us girls were risking note passing, but that didn't last very long because
Yeah.
it got found out.
No, I'm trying to think of all of the games Rama had us doing.
Yeah. I mean, like, I just remember it was always competition. That was like the biggest
Everything
thing.
was a
I mean,
competition.
I remember like the wheelbarrows. He used to see who could run the fastest with the wheelbarrow.
With the biggest loads.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then yell at the ones that couldn't go as fast.
Yeah. And some of those like kids were really small. Oh, why can't you do it? It's like, dude, because he's like 5 times bigger than me. You know.
Yeah.
But everything was a competition.
Everything was, yeah.
And if you weren't competing, he was like singing or preaching. Those were the three
But
things.
things were competitions.
Those are fun.
Not everything was fun, because there were competitions in the dumbest ways. Like, who's gonna get done cutting the grass with these scissors?
Yes, yes. There was a lot of that. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Or pulling weeds in this gigantic field where you can't see the end.
Yes. Or not being able to wear gloves and having to go out there and pull weeds. And then when you got in the thistles and stuff, then he'd be, oh, what's the matter? Oh, get out. You're like nothing or whatever. And you'd like, so you just zip your lips and just keep pulling. And hopefully, you didn't dare say anything after a while because you didn't want to be
some of the boys would sometimes want to be the hero, and they'd go around and be the thistle
pullers. Yes. And the ones that didn't complain, well, why can't he would like pit the other ones against, why can't you be like that? Why aren't you like that? Look at that. Boost the one person up, and then yeah.
Yeah.
That was a lot. Like
tons of stuff like that.
Yeah. I do remember him being pretty good at jokes. And but I don't remember if they are really truly jokes or if it was more people laughing because he wanted them to laugh. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. there was the one, like before people would leave on a Sunday night or whatever, he would get, before he would release everybody, they would stand around and talk and stuff. And I remember, and I don't remember what the jokes were or whatever it was, but a lot of like the people laughing really hard at
Really?
things that he was saying. And that always gave
Really?
that he was funny. Yeah.
Wow.
I remember quite a few. There was a lady that used to live in the house. She's passed away now, like a long time ago. But she used to talk about growing up and standing in front of the fire pit and warming her front and then turning around and warming her backside. And there was one Sunday she was standing there telling everybody about it. And I remember clearly her like popping herself around, and Rama made some kind of joke or statement, and she like kept the joke going or whatever, and it being just everybody laughing. And I'm trying to remember her first name. I don't want to say which house it is or whatever, because that's like too much information or whatever. But afterwards, remind me to ask.
Wow.
There might be other people that remember that too.
Well, we have another question here too.
Yeah. You would probably answer this better than me on this one because, well, I know we went back and forth, but so a girl asked me, why were you in school some years and not others?
Because Rama's bipolar.
Hey, that is an awesome answer. Right on. Right on.
I mean, that's the simplest answer.
Yeah, sometimes he said it was okay.
I wasn't allowed to go to kindergarten, but I was allowed to go to first grade and second grade and third grade and half of fourth grade. But then I was pulled out of school, and then I was homeschooled for a bunch of years, and then I was allowed to go back in 10th grade. And then like other families, it was sort of the same thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes they were allowed to go to school, and then they were pulled out. We had to be in correspondence school. And then for whatever reason, he allowed kids to go back to school, and then they were pulled out. Yep. I have no idea the rationale. I have no idea the reason. Just like most things that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Nothing had a rhyme or reason. It just was based on the seat of his pants.
Yeah.
It was,
and I know like there were sometimes he would leave and go visit over to India, back to his home country or whatever. And whenever he went back there, things got pretty slacked or lax, I should say.
Yeah.
And people had a little bit more freedom. But then once he came back, holy hell, did the hammer come down.
Yeah, you were always worried which one of the adults had the longest list.
Yes.
Like my mom.
We dreaded those meetings, man.
Ugh.
Just dreaded.
My mom was such a tattletale.
All of them were.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the only thing I can think that I can come up with, because there was really no rhyme or reason. I mean, some of his excuses were the influence.
Yeah.
I know that my elder sister had come, had, made arrangements with this when I was in elementary school. She had made arrangements with the principal to come see me. And that was found out, and so we were pulled out of school for that.
Okay.
Because she was this horrible, no good, very bad person.
Yeah.
For turning it in that my brother was being beaten.
Yeah. Well,
like
that would make
the other people should have been doing.
Yeah.
And then what were other things? Like, I don't know. There just seemed like whenever there was like a paranoia about something, and then like there was a period where all of us kids were grilled about how we needed to answer anybody
Yeah.
and what questions we could answer and what questions we couldn't answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then and then it was like that wasn't good enough, and then we were taken out of school.
School. Yeah.
So I don't know. I have no answer to that, except that Ron was bipolar.
That's a really good answer. That's one of the best answers I've ever like heard anybody come up with.
I mean, I'm not a professional. I don't have the credentials behind my name to make those diagnoses, but
yeah.
I guarantee you, if somebody with the professional credentials to diagnose him could,
Yeah.
he would also have a bunch of credentials behind his last name, and they wouldn't be doctor.
That's funny. All right. Well, this was good.
Yeah, this was good.
Yeah.
I'm glad people are starting to ask some questions.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that they'll continue.
Yeah.
And keep going with this. Well, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Have a good night with your family. Enjoy your pizza.
Yes. I'm gonna go eat pizza. All right. You have a good night.
Yep. Good to see you. Good to talk to you. Okay. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.